Hey everyone, it's Grady from SUBOVERLAND, and in this video I'll be doing a little walk around of this 2024 Highlander I'm working on. This is a 2024 Toyota Highlander, sorry, the Grand Highlander. So this is the longer one that I think they just came out with. So there's not a lot of these on the road yet, but to my understanding, I think the second row seat, there's more leg room, and then there's more storage in the back of the thing. And I'm doing a little lift kit on this. This is a buddy of mine vehicle, and it's a 2-inch lift, and I'll get some more details on that, but I wanted to do a little before. So this is before the lift, and then I'll do a walk around of it after. We can see the difference. All right guys, so I'm here at the shop here working on this 2024 Grand Highlander, doing a lift on it. And I thought I'd just give a quick little how-to video on it, because I didn't find anything for this specific year. It looks like in 24 they switched up a couple different things in the rear suspension versus the earlier one, so I'll show you kind of the process. So the front here was pretty straightforward, identical to a bunch of other applications I've done with kind of these crossover SUVs. Subaru, what else have I done? The Prius, you know, so it's really similar. So you first need to just remove the strut, just like a regular, you know, strut removal. So you're going to remove that. Up top in the engine compartment, you have to remove that front valance. There's a little plastic valance, I guess I'm calling it, where the windshield is. And you have to remove the wipers to get to these top 3 bolts. So there's 3 bolts up top. And then that is the spacer on top of the strut there. And so you remove the strut by removing brake lines. So you got that one. Remove that. There's a little clip over here. You remove that. And then this is the aftermarket extender for the sway bar link. But you remove the sway bar link. It's going to be in the stock location. So you remove that, and then you remove these 2 bolts right there, and it'll come out. This will swing out the whole rotor, caliper, you know, CV axle, that'll all swing out, and then you can remove the strut and then assemble that top spacer like I showed you, and then you install this spacer, not spacer, it's an extender for the sway bar link, because the geometry is different now. Now the rear of this was a little bit more difficult for me to figure out. I'm getting it done right now. I haven't completed it yet, but I figured it out so I can show you guys. So they're calling this piece right here, you can see it's surrounding, they're calling it a cradle. So this whole thing that's surrounding the rear differential, as you can see all around that, they're calling that a cradle in the instructions. This is obviously a lower control arm, upper control arm, and you essentially are lowering the cradle first. And this is how the cradle is connected. It's 4 connection points just like this, and it'll be kind of like a purple. So these rear ones were kind of weird. So it was threaded up top. Focus in on that. So it's just a regular threaded bolt. And then the bottom had a nut. And so I took off the nut on the bottom, and then this was still in there. And I grabbed a 10 millimeter for that bottom. See how it's hexed? And then you removed this stud. And so that was right here. And then I you're supposed to. So you do the rear ones first, and sorry, I'm kind of all over the place here. So this is how it's set up. Where am I at now? So it's kind of like this piece is kind of like this, and it's connected with a little 12 millimeter over there, and then this with that, you know, stock hardware. So this comes out, and you need to, before you do any of that, you need to jack up. I did it underneath the rear diff here. You can, I guess, use 2 jacks if you wanted to do the cradle itself, but I'm on the diff, and because it's, you know, connected, so you can just do the diff there and reinforce it so it gets up. And then you first jack it up, remove these, remove those, and then reinstall. They have some extended hardware. Where's mine at? I'm all over the place. Oh, I've already installed them all. Anyway, so they're longer, and then they have a big thick washer on them. So you reinstall that kind of finger tight so you can still drop it. And then you move to the front. And so here's the front ones. You can see they're right there. And you install this spacer up top. So you remove that, lower your jack, install the spacer. It's an aluminum spacer like that. And now I'm going to go to the back ones and install the spacers up there. You can see there's some space up there. I'm going to install them up there, tighten everything down. I think it's 90 foot-pounds on these. And all this is in the instructions, but it was just hard for me to figure it out just from reading it. I'm more of a visual learner, I guess. So hopefully this helps out. And then I'm going to get into installing the puck on top of the coils. All right, so I finished up the lift here. Sorry this video hasn't been, you know, more descriptive or whatever. I didn't feel myself doing it, so I'm just going to explain it here. So we kind of went over the spacers. So there's, you can see the spacer up top there a little bit. There's 4 of them, 1, and then 1 over there, and then in the front. So all just surrounding this, you know, this whole piece, keeping it bolted to the unibody. And then after you're finished with that, you have like this piece right here. This is the factory piece. And then right there, there's a little spacer. You can see right there. That's a little spacer that comes with the kit too. So this piece is level. Okay, so you have to do that. And then you get into the coil stuff. So there's the coil. I think this is a 2-inch lift. And you essentially get, I use these 2. This is like my transmission jack. And then this is just a regular, you know, stand that you use when your car's on a lift. If you guys have a lift, if you don't, then you can just jack up right here, you know, your lower control arm in that area. Be careful, it could slip, and so you just kind of get a good placement there. And then once you have it supported, then you can remove those 2 bolts. There's 17 millimeters, and then you can slowly let down the lower control arm. You also need to loosen up that bolt right there. That one is also a 17, so loosen that so this can swing a little easier, and then it'll swing out. As it's swinging, you use 2 hands, so I use, like, you know, left hand on here, right hand on the coil, and just kind of bring it out. And then you leave the rubber. There's a rubber seal up top there, the factory one. You can't see it very well. and then you put that on top. There's like a little nipple inside of there, and that goes into the factory unibody there. And then you place it in there, and then you start jacking up that arm again. Now, again, be careful with this. This is an interesting. I'm not as familiar with these suspension setups. I'm more old school, but you just got to be careful as you're lifting that up, and then you place those bolts. This one was pretty tough. It took me a while actually for the driver's side. I kind of have to get in there with some pry bars and make it line up. So that was pretty difficult. That was time consuming for me. Hopefully you guys have a better experience with that. And that's pretty much the rear. And you button everything up. You don't have to. I didn't loosen up the camber adjustment or that tie rod right there. You just drops down, and I was able to finagle it in there. So again, just be careful with the jack, because you are compressing that spring with your jack essentially with the clamshell.